The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Canucks are banged up. Bagsy's banged up, but we keep rolling, baby, because time don't stop. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Go download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Kyle, we spent a lot of time talking about the Miller-Pettersson match tonight against the New York Rangers, so go check out yesterday's episode if you haven't already. But for today, Kyle, we got to talk about the trade winds of Bruin. And I want to talk a bit about how one team in particular might be smelling blood when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks. But for the two guys who are really rumored right now, Nazem Kadri and Pavel Zacha, Kyle, just be straight up with me. Be straight up with me, man. For once in your life, would you want either of these guys on the Canucks?
Oh, of course. I really like both these players. But it's not the time to make this trade. Okay, for real. It's not the time. Like, again, I keep prefacing it. We kind of touched on it at the end of last night's episode, but it's like, yo, let Elias just do all the work here. Let him carry us for a month. Let us be shown that he is a true superstar, an elite superstar, a true leader. He can do everything, even without Quinn Hughes and Miller or Horvat and company, and just carry the load. Let him look like a true pillar before we trade any youth for this fix, because this is a risky one. This could be one of the most riskiest trades in Canucks history. And we just traded JT Miller, another second-line center, right? Not that long ago. For real. Like, you don't want to do this. Like, you don't want to do this unless you know you're a contender. Can we just move like that? For real. Can we just please do that? And Trevor, on this note, I don't know if you, a bit of a side note, but if you checked out one of the latest segments of the Halford and Bruff show, they had a New York Rangers reporter on, and media members, I'm paraphrasing just a bit, maybe even some of the fans, people in and around the team, weren't afraid of letting go of Hedl because they knew he wasn't a long-term option, because he's an injury away, a couple injuries away from never playing again, and that's who we traded JT Miller for. And that's why we're in this hole right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that was a risky move, and now you're trying to get a second-line center when your team's a middling team, and you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's going to cost you Willander in a first or Braden Coots, it's like, I don't know. And the only way I'm doing this is if Elias Pettersson is a top 10 player in hockey. For real. Now, Trevor, let me swing this to you, though, because I don't know. Like, we've already had that conversation, right? Yesterday. Out of these two, who would you rather have, Zacha or Kadri?
Yeah, straight up as a player, I think I'd rather have Nazem Kadri. I know he's older, but I think he's a borderline first-line center, right? He's still putting up numbers even now at the age of 34, or soon to be 35. He's in year, I guess he's got 3 years or 4, including this year, left on a fairly reasonable deal, $7 million in today's NHL. That's a pretty good rate for a second-line center. But I think the Calgary Flames, too, I have a feeling they might be smelling blood with the Vancouver Canucks a bit, because, God, they've been down this road before with them, right? The Elias Lindholm trade. They make that trade with the Canucks. They get a first-round pick. They got Andrei Kuzmenko, who they later flipped for more assets. That first-round pick turned into Matvei Gridin, who was one of their stud prospects during preseason, played a couple NHL games with the big club. He's killing it in the minors. I got 100 Bruchevitz out of it as well, who's kind of like on the cusp of being on that team. So I think Calgary might look at the Vancouver Canucks and say, can we pull it one on Vancouver again? And look, Kyle, we've been over it. Every day no. It's not like we're regretting the Elias Lindholm trade. That's the kind of move you make when you're a contender. But the issue is the Canucks, they get eliminated in the second round, Lindholm walks, and then Calgary ends up with the assets, right? I think Calgary could be looking at a very similar situation with the Vancouver Canucks here as the season goes on again.
Oh yeah. And again, even on that note, Trevor, like a team that barely makes the playoffs, you can't just make the trade for Lindholm, don't retain Lindholm, trade Miller the next year for a guy that's one concussion away from retiring. And then the next year after that, trade Willander, trade Coots, trade Mancini. Like, can you really trade Mancini if, like, he's the only piece remaining for the Miller trade. You know what I'm saying? This is risky business, bro. And I just feel like I would be more satisfied as a Canucks fan, even though I know it's Operation Quinn Hughes. That being said, I feel like if Elias Pettersson is back, that will do some convincing for Quinn Hughes. Like, because Elias is just a dog when he's on. He's one of the best players in the game. Like, that could do a lot of work. But all in all, I would just be like, yo, let's just run with this team. I know it's risky business, but maybe the goaltender gets hot. Maybe we can go shopping for a second line center in the offseason. Maybe Braden Coots develops ASAP. You know what I'm saying, Trevor? But making another move when you don't even know if you have Quinn Hughes as a long-term fix, bro, this is the type of move that will keep you being in the middle forever. I straight 100%, 100 bazillion percent. And I don't know, I'm trying to like, again, when you're a bad team and you don't make the playoffs, like you got to look at yourself and be like, maybe we should do things differently, right? And accumulate and stack up things and just build differently. And I look at a team like Utah and I'm like, you know what I'm trying to say? They just had a bunch of assets around. They had a bunch of, like, even to a point where they can make a trade for Peterka because they probably have like a couple extra young 84 overall players on their team. Like, we don't even have that. Like, we don't even have no players that are under the age of like 24 who are like 84 overall. You know what I'm saying? And we've sucked for a decade and a half. Like, we can't even make moves for dynamic players and whatnot. So again, less is more here. We've done a lot of movement, okay? We've done a lot of movement. Lindholm one here, Miller for Hedl the next. Just slow down. And if you want to find a second line center fix for me, maybe get lucky and try to get somebody, like, you know how they're trying to do the Reichel thing? Maybe like a tier above Reichel. Maybe it's like a second round pick or a third round pick or whatever. You know, I don't know. Just try getting lucky as opposed to taking a swing here. Because, yeah, I don't know, like, Kadri and Zacha, I'm a fan of both players, like, for real, 100%. I feel like Kadri is like a great replacement for JT Miller, to be honest. Like, you get the same culture type of guy, obviously a lot older, good old Canadian boy, though. Again, read Nazem Kadri's book, one of the best hockey books I've ever read in my life. I like those players, but like, is that even enough to like put us into contendership? Like, maybe I'd be more excited about something like this if Hedl was still healthy, but he's not healthy. Like, the Canucks need two pieces in their top six to be legit, right?
Yeah, most likely, Kyle. I'd say you're right. And again, thinking about potentially acquiring one of these two players, I think you hit the nail on the head, Kyle. You make this move when you're a fringe contender and you're trying to be a legitimate contender. Right now, the Canucks are in the mushy middle, and they're hoping a move like this might take them from being middle of the pack to fringe contender. Like, that's just not how smart organizations move. And I don't think it's how the Canucks are going to move unless this team really shows something over the next 20 games with this current core. Like, show that they don't get outshot every single goddamn game. Show that there's some depth on this team outside of Elias Pettersson. Like, the other line's got to get going, much like they did against Sunday in Edmonton. It's got to be more than just the goaltending or the Hughes Pettersson Demko show. Like, there's got to be more from the rest of this team to, again, enter that fringe contender conversation before you can even think about making a move like this. And Kyle, I said it before and I'll say it again. I mean, look, a lot of negativity out there about Filipino. One love to Filipino. Guy's got to get well. But I mean, look, there's a world where he does return, right? Like, everyone's saying, oh, his career's done. He's not coming back. And maybe that's the case. You know, his health is first and foremost. But he also could be coming back. Like, we're a week and change removed from this injury happening, right? Like, let him take the time. Everyone's, like, you know, being pretty quiet, encouraging. But let's see what happens with Filip Chytil and Lucas Reichel over the next 20 games. Let's see what this team can do. And then if you are truly a fringe contender, then Kyle, you and I are going to be warming up to a move like this a bit more, trading for Kadri or Zacha. Now, maybe before we wrap up this segment, I'm just curious, what is the max price you think you'd pay for either one of these players? Because for me, Braden Coots is off the table. There's just not enough center depth in this organization. The 2026 first is also off the table. I'm also very hesitant about trading Tom Willander as well. And look, I said it last week, but really the reports are that the Canucks are more willing to trade Mancini than Willander. Now, I think, like, a realistic package for either one of these players, if they're looking for futures, and this probably is a little light, would be Mancini in 2 seconds, right? Like similar to what like Gillis did for Derek Roy back in the day. Even look at kind of Mikhail Granlund getting a conditional first, but maybe have like a player like Mancini who, top 4 potential in 2 seconds. I don't think it's getting it done, but I think that's probably around the max price I'm willing to pay if I'm Patrick Allvin for either one of these guys.
Mancini in the 2027 first round pick, protected. Like, there's no way Kadri is like moving for like 2 seconds in a former 5th round pick in Valentino Martini Mancini, Like, there's no way Boston's taking Mancini and a couple seconds for Pavel Zacha. Like, they're like other teams. And again, like, I guarantee Utah has, like, and they don't necessarily need a 3rd line center, a 4th line center. I'm pretty sure they got like McBain and some other guys. But like, I'm just saying other teams have more assets. Similar to like the package that we just laid out, where they could like top it with a sweetener to get it done, compared to the Canucks, where the Canucks are just going to have to pay a premium, in my opinion. And I just think that, like, even though we're connected to guys like Zacha and whatnot, I don't see it happening this time around, unless again Elias Pettersson proves. And I'm not saying like he just being back. I'm saying he's one of the best players in hockey, for real. Now get involved in the comments. I got this conspiracy theory that we've talked about in the past. Maybe we'll touch on it at the end of the episode. I do want to run a new segment called Discord Disco as well, in the second segment. Kind of like ties into Filipino too, because I'm inspired and I'm emotional. All in all, though, let's be honest. If Thatcher Demko is healthy last year, there's like a 95% chance that Elias Pettersson and JT Miller are still teammates, because winning fixes everything. And sometimes we need a therapist. I mean, sometimes we need to get saved. And if we just won more games last year, it would have been easier to, I don't know, get through this. But since we're losing and we're mediocre and kind of a bit all over the place, especially like November onwards, like the middle of November onwards, it was just hard to ever recover. And all in all, Thatcher Demko, he gets you more wins. And also, he just is stoic in that room. And Quinn Hughes and Brock Besser were never going to be able to fix that problem between Miller and Pettersson and Garland. But maybe Demko could have aided more, because he's just that serious guy. He's got more of that alpha energy in him. So, yeah, we wouldn't be in this predicament where we're talking about Pavel Zacha and Nazem Kadri. We had JT Miller and Elias Pettersson down the middle. So, yeah.
There we go, Kyle. Still bitter 10 months later. Hard to blame you, buddy. Let's get to the other side and talk about today's Canucks. Again, battling JT Miller and the New York Rangers. Some lineup notes and a pretty big debut to get to. Let's get to some news and notes and the new segment, Discord Disco, on the other side here on Locked On Canucks. All right, before we get back to the program, let's shout out our friends over at Monarch Money. Let's be honest, most of us can't name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between RSPs, TFSAs, savings, investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. And Monarch, man, I'm not doing it right now. Got to rest and recuperate. But Monarch, man, they've improved my lovemaking. You know why? They've eased my stress, because with Monarch, you can link up your accounts with your wife's or your partner's, and you can view them together. And man, oh man, when we can view the spending together, the investments, see it growing together, that just brings us closer together, baby. So make sure that you improve your love life, ease the stress, and don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off of your first year, baby.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Let's get to the comments. Nancy saying, geez, Kyle, you're always in love with JT Miller. Boom, bam. He's not even close to being the defensive player EP40 is. And Meows is saying Nancy should be hosting. JT apologists seem to be forgetting JT's defensive lapses. Sure, but I'm just saying right now, like, we traded a guy that's still, even without the defensive warts, like, or even with the defensive warts, better than Hedl. We traded that guy for a guy that was, again, Rangers media being like, they liked Chytil as a person, but they were looking at this like somewhat of a steal because the guy was an injury away from retiring. And now we're here looking for Zacha and Kadri. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a lot of back and forth stuff. It's just really confusing. And again, I think Elias, I said it on yesterday's episode. Elias at his prime is way better than JT Miller because of Elias's strengths. But there's a world where we're not far away from still having both these guys on the team, and but whatever. Now we got Lucas Reichel, man. It is what it is. Next comment. And Meows is saying he was a good player, but he wasn't right for the Canucks. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's life. That's life. Filipino, was he right for the Vancouver Canucks? I don't know. Did the team think that? I don't know. Actually, I think I do know. Let's run the segment called Discord Disco and let Mother Knucker go on a rant. And I want to touch on this Filipino thing a little bit more, because if we're talking about second line centers, again, it's scaring me, but the Canucks made a huge mistake.
So I'll say this real quick about what we were talking about with the whole, lack of response thing. I get Footy's idea to salvage the 2 points, keep the win, yada, 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 whatever else. Look at what the score was of the game at the time. And also, look at who not only laid the hit, but look at who took the hit. That is one of your quote-unquote top 5-6 players, a guy that needs to be protected, and nobody besides Linus Karlsson even attempts to go after him at all. Like, even Linus Karlsson, what did he do? He grabs him and then tries to spin him around. Willie knew what the was going to happen, and he knew nobody was going to do anything. And that's why he did it. I mean, he does it regardless because that's who he is. But my point in this is that it's pretty bad. And it's pretty bad for the team culture whenever one of your top players, a known injury-prone, concussion-laden hockey player, is laid the fuck out by somebody, and your response is to gingerly skate over and kind of casually pull him around. And oh, by the way, it's your Swede that's doing it, not Evander Kane. Evander Kane was on the fucking ice, and you know what he did? He trailed behind just enough to make it look like he was doing something. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about Evander Kane. He is not the guy that everybody says that he is. He's collecting a fucking paycheck. This is the equivalent of a retirement tour for him. He knows it, we know it, and it makes me sick to my stomach. And I'd rather have Dakota Joshua out there at least giving a fuck. Dakota Joshua would have gone after Tom Wilson if he was on the ice. Tell me any differently. Anyways, play this on your fucking show, except bleep it. Because honestly, guys, this team has no fucking heart. They haven't had heart for years. I don't know why. I don't know what it's about. But it's time for somebody to step the fuck up and do something. Because we're going to be watching our guys one by one fucking fade away. Because everybody's going to take liberties on them. Everybody. Even Huggy. He's not safe. Denver's not safe. As long as we continue to have this lack of response, we are going to be laughed at by other teams, and we are going to be dog-walked physically by other teams. Kiefer Sherwood could only do so much. Tyler Myers is only so big, but he's clumsy. But anyways, I'm just frustrated. But love you guys. Love the Discord. And happy to be back in Texas. Later.
Okay, if you want to leave us a little voicemail or something, join the Discord and give us a voice message. And I know the Chytil injury was a week and a half ago, but we're about to play Miller and the Rangers as they come to Vancouver, so it kind of connects. And oh yeah, we just talked about trading for Kadri and Zacha. And I'm telling you, Trevor, I just feel like this team has to do so much more proving that they're like a team full of camaraderie, that there's a bit of identity here, there's a bit of a culture here before we take any more big swings. That is just the truth. And just to add on to this, Trevor, like now we're seeing Hughes go through injury after injury. Is that safe to say? It's been 3 years of this guy getting injured. In the playoffs, he gets injured. Last year, he gets injured. And this year, he's injured again. I'm telling you, moving forward, I want to see this. And then as far as like Elias Pettersson taking the next step and proving to us that he is a superstar and this team, this core is worthy of another trade, I want to see this team completely stand up for each other, because if they don't stand up for each other, Quinn Hughes is going to get hurt again. He's the smallest guy in the league, one of the smallest defensemen in the league, and he keeps getting hurt. So look, there's so many holes on this team that they can't fix it all in 1 year, but the culture still has to change. There needs to be like some sort of identity and some sort of protection before this team moves like a contender. Because to me, they're still completely like far away from it. Mother Knucker, thanks for the message, but it's an emotional day, man. Miller's coming to town, and after hearing that reporter say what he had to say about Hedl, I'm like, yo, why the hell did we do this?
Yeah, and we know we had our buddy Andrew Chelney on the show after the trade, and this guy was just gassing up Hedl, and you can see both sides of it, right? Like if Hedl can stay healthy, you can see a guy that has legitimate second line potential, playing on a reasonable salary, a guy with breakup potential in an elevated role. But you can also see from, the 20 plus games of Hedl plus preseason that he's a guy that often puts himself in dangerous situations. He did it last season on a number of occasions. He was doing it in the preseason, and he did in that Washington game, and he got burned for it. Now, not to say that was a clean hit. It was interference. But Hedl often will skate himself into situations where he's, can get caught looking, right? And yeah, it does bring that trade into question a little bit more, Kyle. And I think all we can do at this point is, again, hope the Canucks can show some identity and toughness. No, Mother Knucker, shout out to Mother Knucker, shout out to everyone in the Discord. I mean, this guy wanted to trade Brock Besser in a first-round pick for Matthew Olivier last year. I mean, this guy, he knows that this team needs more toughness.
It's crazy because, again, we're talking about Kadri and Zacha. We're talking about trading for a second-line center. We traded Miller for Hedl, and isn't that an important trade? Like, I know this guy hasn't been around for a long time, Hedl, that is, but it's like, shouldn't the whole organization prioritize like protecting that guy? Not really, because this team's not tough like that. They barely even protect Quinn Hughes, and just all in all, like, there's so many things that has to be done. Like, can it happen? Sure. Look at how they played against the Oilers. Okay, let's talk about some positives. That was a cultural win. That was a galvanizing win. Everyone was bought in. Everyone was finishing their checks. There was a dog-like mentality. This team doesn't have enough talent to not play like that. And if they play like that and they prove to the NHL that they're always a tough out, and oh yeah, they got Thatcher Demko and Lankinen, hopefully he returns to form, and they got Quinn Hughes and Elias is back. There's a recipe to find success in the regular season. But it's got to be like, and this team's got to feel like a team. Like, they got to feel like a unit, a cohesive unit. Everyone talked about, oh, you remove Miller from this team and you're going to remove that toxic player in that work environment. Things are going to get better. We're 5-5 and we still don't defend our teammates. How close is this team? How close is this team? They got to prove that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but their backs against the wall with all these injuries. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. They have to come together and play a whole different style, have somewhat of an identity before we go all in and pushing these chips for Nazem Kadri or Pavel Zacha. Because, again, the one positive about both those players, they do have some term. They're not rentals like Lindholm.
100%, Kyle. I think you hit the nail on the head. Let's put a bow on that. Let's take a quick break, get to the other side, get some news and notes and your comments here on Locked On Canucks. All right, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, baby. Whether it's NBA, MLB, NFL, or NHL, there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Man, oh man, tonight in the NHL, the Frozen Frenzy. Cobb's another example of the NHL being bad at marketing. Like, why is this on a Tuesday when the World Series is going on and the half of Canada's watching that? Like, why isn't this like a January thing? But anyways, that's
what is the Frozen Frenzy like when they do like the
Frozen Frenzy is like I think it's on TNT or ESPN, but the States basically advertises it because all 16 NHL teams are playing in one day. See, That's how bad the marketing is. You didn't even know about it, and we do this every day here. Locked On Canucks, man, unbelievable. But if you want to bet on any of those 16 games, go check out FanDuel. The line for the Rangers and Canucks has moved, likely with the injury news to Quinn Hughes. The Rangers are favorites in this game, minus 118 on the money line. Canucks minus 102. So, no, not huge underdogs, but they are underdogs on home ice. Whether you're betting on the Canucks or another team in the NHL or NFL, whatever it is, go place that bet on FanDuel. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. Check it out on FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app today.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Canucks and reading comments to end off this episode of Locked On Canucks. Hit the like button, support the show. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab, and get well soon, Trevor Beggs. Jay saying 2 to 3 weeks ago, you were raving about the JT Miller trade. 2 to 3 weeks ago, I was. That's the greatest trade in Canucks history. Filipino got hurt. Like, it happened. He got hurt. And then you're hearing reporters say, like, speaking the truth and being like, yo, like, we didn't care much when Hito got traded because we all knew this guy wasn't going to last. You know what I'm saying? He's had 2 concussions in his first 25 games as a Vancouver Canuck. And it's unfortunate, but it's left us in this position where it's like, are the Canucks going to like trade more assets to get Kadri and Zacha? And it's scary. It's scary. It is what it is. It's a fine line. And also, we're playing Miller tonight. It's JT Miller, second leading Canucks scorer when it comes to points per game in Canucks history. Like, maybe I'm a little emotional today, and it is what it is. That's life. That's sports. But it's a big moment, and the storylines do connect. It's not even just like a Pettersson versus Miller thing. I think that one's kind of like dead unless Pettersson nails Miller, which I hope he does. I hope he crushes Miller. No, for real. I hope he knocks him out.
That would be sick. That would be sick.
Going into today, like Mancini, like it's emotional because Mancini's hurt. Hito's got another concussion. You know what I'm saying, Trevor? And we're looking for a second line center.
Yeah. Yeah, and I talked about it, right? Like with Mancini and Hito out, like all you have left from the JT Miller trade is Marcus Pettersson. And you'd rather have JT Miller in your lineup than Marcus Pettersson. But yeah, it's the Canucks. I mean, it's so funny right now because you can spin it 2 ways. Like they're either very fortunate to be at 5-5 because of all the injuries they've had. And maybe you're thinking that they can do more if they have more healthy bodies, or you're saying this team has been outplayed for most of the games that they've been in, and they're kind of lucky to be at 5-5. But right now, Hughes again is going to miss his second game in a row with a lower body injury. He's day to day. Derek Forbort went from a maiden state and no timeline for his return. Kyle, when this is out of your conspiracy theories about not trusting what's coming out of the organization, and Victor Mancini is out for about 7 to 10 days. So. And the injuries are piling up. Now, I will say Tom Willander. Come on, man. Kyle, remember I was a little scared that we drafted Willander over Benson, and you told me to shut up. Now your boy Tom Willander is going to play his first NHL game tonight. He told the media today that even he was surprised that it was happening this soon, which is a very honest answer. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be in a very sheltered role, but excited to at least get a look at Tom Willander in the NHL tonight, see what he can do.
Yeah. I like the kid, confident kid, a kid that's aware, has a skill set, has an opportunity here. I wonder, he said he's surprised that he gets the call up so early. Like, obviously, the injuries have a lot to do with it, maybe in his mind, because he kind of told you, like, he was, like, I'm paraphrasing just a bit, Trevor. Maybe you want to tell the people, but like he was looking forward to playing the AHL, right?
Yeah. When I kind of asked him, like, this is at the end of preseason, I asked Willander, what would it mean for you to make the NHL team? And he kind of said, like, oh, there's pros and cons to it. And he kind of just kept going on about how being the minors, you get to play in a lot of situations, and that would probably be good for his development. So, Kyle, you said it, like, Willander's a smart kid. And I think he knew that at the end of that preseason that he was probably going to the farm. So, yeah. And again, he's back up here because of injury. Now, 1 goal, 1 assist in 5 games. There's been some shoddy defensive moments. There've been some good moments in there too. But yeah, I expect a pretty reduced role for Tom Willander. Like, you're probably gonna get Hughes, Pettersson, PD, and Hronek playing like 20 minutes plus, and P.O. Joseph and Willander probably playing 10 minutes. That's gonna be my guess.
Well, Hughes is not even playing.
Did I say Hughes? Or I said Hronek, PD,
Oh yeah, you said
Myers, and who else? I know I'm playing.
Yeah. So we get Marcus Pettersson and Philip Hronek today, right?
Yeah.
I think that again, like, there's blessings in disguises here. Well, we have to think that way. Again, if Philip Hronek has another like straight up killer game, and then you kind of like close your eyes and you think about how he played last year without Quinn Hughes at times, like, again, the Canucks moving forward have to think about splitting these guys up, and that ultimately reduces Tyler Myers' minutes moving forward when they're all healthy. I think that's just like an optimal way of dressing this decor, especially if like Hronek exceeds, and also like DPD or Tom Willander, like one of these young guys takes the next step. I wouldn't even be surprised if like Kuriatsiev, when he gets in the lineup, if he like seizes that opportunity ASAP, because I feel like this team just needs more calmness in the back end. And yeah, I don't know if we get that from Willander or DPD, but something about Kirill tells me that, we could get that when that button is pressed, which could be ASAP considering, POJ. He's had a long leash here. It feels like that. And like, he's been all right. But I just wonder if, like, I know they got to win games and like the Canucks want to do the whole veteran thing, but the youth movement on the back end wouldn't be the craziest thing to like try to pull off because A, I trust it, and B, you never know what's going to happen to Quinn Hughes. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's going to happen to Quinn Hughes moving forward. Let's see what we got in all these young defensemen. Straight up. And that's another reason why I don't want to trade for a second line center. You know what I'm saying? Before signing Quinn Hughes to an extension, like trading for a second line center is going to cost like one of these young defensemen. It's like, what if we don't have Quinn moving forward?
Yeah, and the organization knows it. And again, for all this smoke out there with the Canucks getting a Zacha or Kadri, I'm telling you, it ain't happening without either this team going on a run and showing something, or more confirmation from Hughes that he's going to stay. Trevor Banks, Kyle Bound. Let's wrap it up there, Kyle. I'll try to rest the voice so I can do the post game show tonight. One love to you and you for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, you can share the episode with a friend, a colleague, even your mom. She'll love it, I promise. You can like and subscribe to this video on YouTube, on the podcast side. Go follow us and leave a 5-star review. Go Canucks, go. Elias Pettersson versus JT Miller. Team PD, baby. Let's go.
Team PD, go knock Miller out. And what are the chances that Aaron Rodgers played the Packers and Miller played the Canucks in Vancouver on the same week? I need a hug. I need therapy, man.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.